issued. The school will let you know what your deficit is. It is important to note that a full tuition scholarship does not equate a full scholarship. With a full tuition scholarship, you will need to provide proof of funds for your living expenses and health insurance. In some instances, you will need to pay an enrollment deposit as well. The enrollment deposit is your commitment to attend the school. Some schools will refund the enrollment deposit if your visa is denied. Now, once you have received your I-20, it is time to process your visa. While I was recording this, a student asked whether they need to sign the I-20 document and send it back to the school. No, you just have to sign it and then use it to process your visa. Now, once you receive your I-20, you can begin processing your visa. Here are the steps to complete before your visa interview. Step 1, you have to complete the GX1C form, which is the visa application form. Step 2, you have to pay the visa fee. This fee is also called the MRV fee. You must pay it before scheduling a visa interview appointment. Step 3, you have to book a visa interview appointment. Step 4, you have to pay the service fee. This fee must be paid before your visa interview appointment. If you don't pay it before your visa interview, your visa will be denied. Now, if you're an undergraduate student, I've already told you a lot about undergraduate admissions and scholarships. You have to ask yourself the kind of scholarship that you're looking for. And I can actually categorize the scholarships into 3. One is a full scholarship. A full scholarship means you need to have a good SAT score. Then you can also get a full tuition scholarship, which means all your school fees are going to be covered. You only have to think about your living expenses and then your health insurance. Then we can also talk about other scholarships, which are normally less than 50% of your cost of attendance. With that, you are going to have a huge deficit in terms of part of your tuition and also part of your living expenses. Depending on whether you have the SAT or not, I can suggest certain schools to you. I can suggest schools in the US that offer full scholarships. I can suggest schools in the US that offer full tuition scholarships. And I can also suggest schools in the US that offer normal scholarships. So normal scholarship here means maybe 50% or less than that. And so it's all about, whether you're willing to take the SAT or not. If your family cannot sponsor your studies, then you have to take the SAT if you want to study in the US. If not, don't waste your time. Just focus on going to the university in your country, and then after you are done with your degree, you can come to the US and do your master's. But then if your family cannot sponsor you and then you have the SAT, then you can get full scholarships. And I'm going to suggest some schools to you. I will leave an Excel file at the end of this section so that you can go through the Excel file, for a list of schools. And these schools, I will indicate whether they are private or public, and I also indicate the state. Hello guys, welcome to today's live session. So normally we do mock sessions on Sundays, but for some reasons I think we have to talk about visa appointments, right? Because of the fact that we have a new government, there is the likelihood of visa appointment delays, right? And so I just thought we should just use today to discuss that, right? So that you don't struggle to get appointment date, right? So that is what today's live session is about. So I'm going to tell you my opinion on certain things, and then whatever question you have, you can leave it in the chat. Let me know where you are watching this from. It's really important to me. I like to know, where students are watching this live session from. And if you're new here, my name is Shai, and I make study abroad videos. I try to make the best study abroad videos possible, and I always like to take feedback from students so that I can always make things better. And I also try to address issues, right, that students tend to have. So yeah, consider subscribing to the channel if this is the first time you are seeing my face. And if you have not subscribed to my ShaiPod, which is another channel for study abroad conversations, so that one is about interviews. If you haven't subscribed to that channel yet, consider doing so. I have a lot of interesting videos coming up. A lot of, some of you might think you are alone when it comes to the study abroad process, like when it comes to certain challenges that you go through, but the realities are these are common stuff. And so I like to talk to people who have gone through the process, who have had those similar challenges, right? So that you can take inspiration from their stories. And so I have a lot of these stories coming up. And you will understand that sometimes it's not even your GP might not even be enough, right? There are a lot of things that you would have to do to get you through the door. So yeah, so let's get into the live session. Let's get into today's agenda. So let me quickly show you actually the reason why I'm doing this live session, like talking about this issue today, right? Let me see if I can share my my screen with you. So something I came across, and which one? I believe it should be this, right? Okay, yeah, I think it's this. So so if you guys can read this, so there was a news, right, on Reuters, and it's like on February 13, which is like 10 days ago, right? They said that US embassies are told to prepare for staff cuts as Trump overhauls diplomatic corps. So when you read through this, basically it's about US embassies across the world, right? Trump is trying to reduce their staff their staff number by 10%, right? So it's like all the embassies, the goal is to try to reduce it by 10%. Some of you may be aware that when Trump came to power, he appointed Elon Musk as more like the chairman of a new department, more like a state department, right? They call it Department of Government's government what is it, efficiency or something. So the whole point about that is to they believe there are a lot of inefficiencies, bottlenecks in government departments. And so that department, more like sub department, is trying to look into all government departments, and wherever they can reduce costs, that is their whole goal, to reduce costs. And so yeah, they probably think the embassies are wasting money in a way, and so they want to reduce. So yeah, it's the Department of Government Efficiency. So they try to make sure the government is not wasting money. And so one of the things they want to do is to reduce the number of people employed in US embassies in the world, right? And the implications of this, right, when you read this, I mean, some of these things, more like they are speculations, right? And sometimes, yeah, people say there is no smoke without fire, right? So which means, yeah, there is some element of truth in some of these things. And so as an F1 student, what it means is that you have to get yourself ready, right, for what may happen, right? And so the implications of this, if they are reducing the staff number, now it is not clear whether they are going to reduce the number of consular officers, right? They are the ones who interview people, but in a way, if they are reducing the staff numbers, then most of the staff are actually, like, what they intend to reduce have to do with like local people, right? So maybe cleaners and stuff like that, right? Security personnel, right? Not really the consular officers. So it's really difficult to tell, but in a way, if you don't have enough cleaners, if you don't have enough security personnel, maybe that can affect the work of the consular officers, right? If you think about it. So the implications are the fact that longer wait times, right, for interview appointments, which means that if you schedule an interview today, if you try to schedule an interview for maybe July, you might not get a date in July. You might have to wait until maybe September. By then, it will be too late, right? And then also slower document processing. So this one means, maybe your visa, maybe even after you're appointed, even after your visa has been approved, it might take several days for you to get everything, and also few appointment slots. So
maybe when they release a date on a particular day, instead of regular maybe 50 appointment slots, they are going to release maybe 20, right? So these are some of the issues. And so as F1 students, yeah, I just thought, we have to get ready. Most of the time I tell students that you shouldn't worry about appointments, right? Most of last year I said this so many times, don't worry about appointment. But then right now we have somebody in power, who is trying to do things his own way, right? In a way, so it's like you have to get yourself ready, right? If you can prepare, you prepare. If you cannot prepare, then you let things be as they want to be, right? So in our case, we have to get ourselves ready, right? In terms of trying to get a date. So there are a few things that I'm going to say, and those of you like who are watching, if you have any anything to add to this, you can add them, and then I'll read them out. Okay. All right. So where is it? Okay. So the good thing is that when it comes to the MRV fees, right? When you pay for the MRV fee, right, you have up to a year, which means that you can actually take the risk of buying, so long as you are expecting some decisions, right? If you are expecting maybe admission or funding, or maybe you have admission already and you are waiting on the funding, right? Which means that there is a good chance you can process your visa. So you can decide to buy the MRV now, and then, because right now they've not really released dates, because most of the time they release dates from April, June, July. Okay, April, June, July. That's when they are going to release a lot of dates, because that's more like peak visa interview period, right? So if you want, you can maybe get the MRV in March and then start looking for dates or something. By then you may have gotten an offer, right? Then that means you can still go ahead. And but if for some reasons you buy the MRV and then you don't get a date, you still have a year, which means you can start working on the application stuff, and then be able to, if you are not able to come this fall, then there is next fall, right? And the MRV will not expire until next year. So that's something you can think about. And also, sometimes people get offers very late, because schools will decide on the people that they like so much, like in terms of the application that they submitted, right? So some people will be put on the wait list, and those who are put on the wait list, they only get offers maybe from June, July, because by then the school would have known whether the people they gave offers to have decided to accept it or not. Schools will give you the offer and then ask you to get back to them on what you want to do, right? Whether you accept the offer or not. And so students get a lot of offers, and then some of them will wait until June to decide on one of them, right? So this is where, so when you are so for me, like if a school communicates to me that they've not given me any funding, but they gave me admission, I will write to them and then thank them actually for the admission, and and then make it look like, okay, I'm looking forward to, like, I hope to get something, I hope something comes up for me, or like that kind of email, so that if somebody rejects the offer, they can, because you were nice, and or once in a while you can reach out. Don't reach out too frequently, right? Once in a while about some of these things, you might get something may be there for you, right? And so let's say you get an offer in July, then you can, because you already have an appointment, right, you can still come, right? So yeah, if you're not sure, you can get the MRV and then try to schedule the appointment for June, right? So that, yeah, June is I think is a good time, or even July, right? So that's something you can think of. If also, you can also look at your application. Do you really think you have a good chance of getting into a program, right? If you do, then yeah, why not go ahead and then take up the offer, right? Why not go ahead and then book an appointment, so that, yeah, once something, because yeah, if you wait until July, right now the terrain is very rough. We never know what will happen, right? So yeah, you want to get yourself prepared. And sometimes, even if you don't get a date, or even if you don't get an offer, and then let's say you waste your MRV, right, of $185, that is life. Everybody has to waste money at some point. Like, that's just the way it is. I always talk about my waste evaluation, right? I did the waste evaluation. I think after I did the waste evaluation, I did it because of South Dakota State University. And after I did it, I think 2 weeks later or so, I got full funding, admission and full funding, from Ohio University. So if I knew, I wouldn't have done the waste evaluation, right? So yeah, this is one of those things. So I wasted my money and I didn't end up there, right? So sometimes you just have to waste money. I did an interview with Richard, and Richard had, he evaluated his transcript. He had almost 3.9, right? He did become UCC. Just imagine, that's crazy. And he was the best student, right? His story is crazy, but it's amazing. It's an amazing story which can inspire some of you. And he spent almost $2,000 in the process, right, before he finally came. So sometimes it's okay to what I don't like is students wasting money in a way, like, because I am trying to give you the information so that you minimize wasting money. Yes, you may have to waste money, but then you try to minimize it by taking your time. One of the reasons why Richard ended up spending a lot of money was that when he started, he was chasing free application fee schools. He chased a lot of them, nothing better. That's why I keep telling you guys, the people who suggest free application fee schools to you, they are not going to apply to those schools themselves. That's what I wish you guys will understand. But then in the group pages, you see people posting. Even at this time, I keep telling you guys, right now, if a school is giving you free application fee, there's no point wasting your time on it, especially when you have to get recommendation letters and all of that. If the school really has something good for you, they should have given you the free application fee thing long time ago, right? Not now, not this year and then, no. But you guys, you don't listen because you think life is hard. Yes, life is hard. It's not easy. So some of you don't know my background, so when I tell you these things, you might think, oh, I'm in the US, and so I think life is no. You don't understand it. You don't understand my life, right? You don't know me. You don't know me. So when I'm hard on you guys, I know what I'm saying, right? So yeah, if I don't want students to waste time, if you are chasing free application fees for 2 years and then you end up with nothing, I don't like that, right? Invest the money very well, not just spend money on the application fees, but then take your time and then step by step send cold emails to find out about funding opportunities. Be very sure, make sure you meet the requirements very well before you submit applications. Don't waste your time. You don't need to do too many applications. You can do like 5, right? Some of you, I wish you guys will understand some of the things that I say, because I don't have anything to gain from taking advantage of students. No. I will tell you what I have to tell you so that you guys. So yeah. So with what is going on, we don't know what is going to happen, right? So if you want, you can get a MRV maybe next month and then try to get a date so that hopefully something good comes up and then you can go ahead and then submit your application, go for the visa interview, and then hopefully you're approved. And the thing also is that I've seen people without any funding, right? And then because they had already scheduled an appointment, they still went for the visa interview. So somebody like Samuel, right, who I've already interviewed, right? He went for the first visa interview. He had funding, but he was denied. He went for the second one only because he had already scheduled an appointment. He didn't have any funding at all. But the good thing was that the cost of attendance was very low, like 23,000. So he took the risk and went for the interview, and he was approved, right? And then at the time, he was looking for funding outside his department. Fortunately for him, he got something, right? It's not full scholarship, but then at least, it's good enough for him to survive. Like here in the US, people think it's enjoyment. Yeah, there is enjoyment part, but most of the time it's struggle. You are going to struggle, like you fight until you get a job after school, a good paying job while you are a student. It's a struggle. This is the reality. It's a struggle. But yeah, sometimes it's better than being in your home country, right? Even though there are people here in the US who are suffering more than they would be suffering if they were in their home country. There are a lot of people like that, right? So all these things are there, right? So yeah, maybe if you buy, it'll force you to go for the interview without the funding. When you don't have funding and you come, right, the first 1 year is brutal. Like unless you have a family who really cares about you and can help you, right? Then that one they can support you small. But I've seen it before. like where people struggle. I saw somebody who, when he came, he quickly went to a different department. He switched, and the department had funding, so then they gave him partial funding, and then he survived because his original program didn't have funding, right? So he was able to switch. I've seen people who got funding from their department as soon as they came, because they went to the department, told their story. I've seen people who got funding in their second semester, like in the spring semester, but that one is contingent on your performance and all of that. But it is brutal for a lot of people. Like, someone like John, right? He arrived without any funding, and sometimes when I talk about John, I remember some of his struggle. Right now he's chilling. Right now his girlfriend is with him in Washington DC, and he's chilling right. He's chilling right now, right? But when he came for 4 months, 5 months, it was brutal. Like, in one of my shots, you see, he said, "You be in your room, you think, no solution." So yeah, he like at some point he regretted coming like that, even though John's case, he was working at Microsoft, and so he had a lot of personal fans, right? He had a lot, but even with that, he came and things were brutal for him. And I have seen a lot of these things. So sometimes I don't want students to go through that. I want students to take their time and then get something. But everybody's life is different. Maybe you want to take the risk and come, and then you come, and then things will work out for you. But it's not guaranteed, especially right now. Schools are very careful with funding. Schools are, because the Trump government, because of what is going on, schools are not even guaranteed certain federal funds, right? Certain federal funds. So schools are actually, might be in a tough situation when it comes to funding international students. So some of these things, they are not. Yeah, hopefully we don't get there yet, right? We don't get there yet, but these are things that can actually happen. So you don't want to come and then things are not, things become brutal for you, and then you become so sad, and like, so I don't want students to go through that, because what is the point of going to a foreign country and then be suffering when in your home country, even if nothing at all, you have people who can talk to you, who can show you some love, right? Here, if you're suffering financially, it's not just the only thing. You're going to be lonely, you're going to suffer all sort of things, right? So yeah, so I try to talk to students about some of these things, so that, was I showing you, I don't know, I thought I was showing you the right screen, but it looks like I wasn't showing you guys the right screen. Was I think I selected the wrong thing, right? I selected the wrong thing. Okay, so this is the right thing. I selected the wrong thing. I don't know. So I selected the wrong browser. So this is what I was trying to show you, right? This is a thing, right? I thought I was showing the right thing, but I was showing the wrong thing. Okay. So yeah, so there are several browsers that I use, and yeah, so I was showing you. So this is what I was. Yeah, so nobody knows, right? Nobody knows what will happen, and sometimes the only thing you can do is to prepare yourself, right? So yeah, so my thing is that if you have admission, you want to take the risk. I mean, that's something you have to decide on, right? And even if you take the risk, you still have 1 year to get yourself ready to still be able to use the MRV, and so that it doesn't go waste, right? So yeah, so we have Dave here, we have Momeni here from South Africa, we have Issa from Ghana, we have Sandra. Okay, Sandra, hi. We have Florence Baby, we have Joy, we have Kra Joseph, we have IT, we have Peace, we have Joy from Ghana, we have Florence Baby from Nigeria, we have Cisse from Sierra Leone, we have Akins. Okay, Nikia, we have Nikia from Nigeria. Okay, Nikia says, why aren't you on WhatsApp anymore? I am on WhatsApp, but I am not using that number. That's the whole point, but I'm on WhatsApp. It's a lot of work. Like, sometimes it's difficult to explain some of these things. Like, you see why creators don't make themselves so available to students or to people, because yeah, it's really difficult. That's why I try to do this live session, so that I can answer all your questions. Like, I try not to skip any question. Like, yeah, even if somebody says bad thing to me, I don't take it personal. I don't care, like, so like I am open to reading everything, right, and answering your questions. So yeah, it's difficult to combine all of that. Even what I do, yeah, if I go into details, the kind of sacrifice involved in what I am doing, like, you guys will not understand. So yeah, that's the thing. It's really difficult like that. So Karen from Nigeria, and then Portia. Okay, hi Portia. Portia says, I haven't seen Nenekwa in a while. Yeah, Nenekwa, she has dogged me. This is Nenekwa is not missing me, so yeah, that's why she's not here. She doesn't miss me anymore. Okay, Peace Obo says, for the interview, can you call the channel again so that I can subscribe? Yeah. So the name of the channel is ShaiPod. So on YouTube, if you search for, if you type at and then DE and then Shai and then pod, right? So DESHAIPOD, right? So that will get you there, or you can just type there, as in THE and then ShaiPod, and that should actually get it. Or you can also use my current YouTube channel. When you go to the main page of my current YouTube channel, right, you are going to see more like recommended channel or something, and you can see that channel as well. So I have a lot of interesting interviews coming up. Okay. So Kehinde, okay, from Nigeria. I know a lot of Kehindes actually. I think I know 3 Kehindes. One is I'm very familiar with one on Facebook, and then there is Kehinde Taike, right? I hope that did I pronounce it correctly? Taike, right? Hey. Yeah, the one whose sister is Thai, right? So that Kehinde. And then I also know Kehinde Steven in during the live sessions. Okay, so CC says, what is MRV? MRV is just a visa fee, right? Yeah, just a visa fee. Another name for the visa fee. Greater 2025 says, what happened to your WhatsApp group? What do you mean by WhatsApp group? What do you mean by what happened to the WhatsApp group? WhatsApp group is still there, right? Everything is there. Okay, so Queen Raymond is here. Then Josephine says, please, does attending a private university affect your visa interview? Nah, there is no university that you intend to attend that is going to affect your visa interview. Nah, it's just most of the time it's your funding. Do you have the funding and stuff like that? Why do you want to study the program and stuff like that? Even though some schools may give you some advantage but sometimes, right, like Harvard or something, like the top universities, when the visa also looks at it, they will be like, oh, this school has looked at your applications and then decided to give you admission and even funding, or maybe just admission. Then the visa officer is thinking, oh wow, then you must be like a competitive candidate, and so that alone takes care of your legitimacy as a student, right? So then you have 2 things to prove, which is your finances and then your ties. And if you can prove your finances very well, then you're almost there. So some schools, but then every school can get your visa approved actually. So Augusta says, hello Shai, does attending a lower rank school for your MBA affect? I don't think so. Getting a job and internship. Well, internship and job, it depends on you, right? I think the thing is that being an international student already makes it hard for you to get internships. That's the thing. Being an international, if your school doesn't have some connection with some companies, then that alone makes it very difficult. But yeah, being in a low rank school doesn't mean you are not going to get internship. I think it's about your skills and your resume and stuff like that, right? So Joel from Ghana, Glen Angels, okay. Then Nana Kwame says, okay, Nana Kwame is Peter from Ghana, okay. Micah, guys, do I have to submit my DX1C form? Okay, I thank you for this question. I think I said a few things, but I forgot something very important. So when you buy the visa the MRV fee, right? When you pay for the MRV fee, okay. So first of all, right, what you have to do is to create the DX1C form, right? To create the form and then fill the form, but then don't submit it, right? So have the DX1C form, but then don't submit it. Fill out all your details, don't submit it yet, because you don't know the school that you are going to use for your visa interview. So fill everything out, don't submit it, and then use the application ID, which becomes your confirmation number, to book an appointment using the MRV, so that as soon as you have a new school which you are interested in, you can go into your DX1C form and then change the details, right? So that it's like, okay, it will be as if you just fill out the DX1C form without the old details, right? That kind of thing. So that's something that you guys can do. But then if for some reasons you submit it, then in the past it was easy to change, but now they are probably understaffed, right? And so it's difficult to change that. But you can also print the two. I don't recommend it, but you can actually print two DX1C forms, and then when you go, give the current one to the visa officer, and they will still interview you. And it's all about being able to express yourself, right? So you can still, so those are two options. You can go with either of them, right? But I don't recommend the second one, because you don't want to give the visa officers a lot of work. They don't have time. They want to interview as many people as possible. So anything that delays them, that can go against you. That should not go against you, but once in a while, it can, right? So try and then create the DX1. All of you can, so long as you are waiting on admission or you have admission, go ahead and then create the DX1C form, fill it out, don't submit it, use the application ID, book an appointment, and then when you are ready, you can fill it out with the correct details. And then, because one of the mistakes, one thing I don't like is for you to put a different put one part, let's say on your DX1C form, you put somebody who is going to, let's say you put let's say an uncle, and then at the interview you are telling the visa officer that your father. It's like, if your father was there, why didn't you put your father in the DX1C form? That alone is enough for your visa to be denied, honestly, because that inconsistency doesn't make sense, like, in a way. But then I've seen a lot of situations where the I-20 details and then the DX1C form and then what the student presents are different. So, but then the most important thing I always say is that what you present and then what you have on the DX1C form, they have to be the same. Sometimes when they are different from the I-20, it can be an issue, but most of the time I think that can be overlooked, because people get the I-20 long before they fill out those details, and a lot of things can happen, right? So that one is acceptable. But when it comes to the DX1C form and then the what you present, I think the consistency is very important there, right? So you can go ahead and then create the account and then just don't submit it, right? That is an option that you can look at. So let me change my, I think I like this better. So where was I? So yeah, Micah said, guys, do I have to submit my DX1C form before I schedule my interview? So you don't have to submit it, right? You can fill it out, use the application ID to schedule, and then you can when you're ready, you can fill out the details, right? The correct details. Queen Raymond says, will the federal funding restrictions affect schools funding international MS students? Yes, when they read, because some of the assistantship funds, I think they come from the federal government. I think so. I could be wrong, but yeah, in a way, even if it's not coming from the federal government, it can also affect the school's capacity to do other things, which means that they have to, take those monies which would have been given to international students, to fund their studies, to put into other things, right? So in a way, they are all connected, right? So yeah, we are not there. So hopefully we don't get there. But then those are some of the things, right? So yeah, but everybody's life is also different, right? So right now, schools are very careful, because you just never know what is going to happen with this government, right? Rosalind says, I'm applying for fall and definitely taking cues from this session. Okay, you're welcome. Kadir says, hi Shai, please, do you think the recent cut in NIH funding by the current government will affect the number of PhD admissions for 2025? What is NIH? When it comes to abbreviations, I easily forget these things. NIH, what is NIH? NIH, what am I even typing? This thing is interfering with National Institute of Health. I don't know, but in a way, it depends, right? If a school if a school has some affiliation with NIH, then yeah, of course, then yeah. So yeah, all the recent cuts, in a way, they can affect schools, right? In a way, so So Benson says, okay, hi Benson, hi Thomas, Alele. Kwame says, please, I want to interview. If you want to be interviewed, you can reach out. Normally, I post something about those who want to interview, who want to be interviewed. So then you can reach out with your details, and then we'll know who to select. And it is not like everybody gets to be interviewed, because yeah, it depends, right? Normally, I want to interview one person or maximum two people, because I only do once. I do this once in a week, once a week, right? And the thing is that I most of the time I only do things on weekends, right? Making videos, I do them on weekends. If I have interviews, normally I like to do it. I like to do them on weekends, right? Then I do two live sessions, so it's like on weekends, yeah, a lot of things going on. So yeah, it's difficult to say I want to interview so many people on weekends. Like, I get tired, and I have homework and stuff I have to take care of. I also teach. I have to, prepare my notes, stuff, like all these things, right? So, all right. So, I mean, you know, familiarity helps in a way, to be selected. When we are familiar with you, we are going to select you. That's just the way it is. Okay, Josephine says, okay, just Leslie. Okay, yeah, okay, that's nice. Okay. Cisse says, can I apply for my MRV after receiving a tentative admission? The university will only give admission after submitting my bank statement and passport biodata. Well, yeah, tentative admission is still admission, right? So this is something you just have to decide. Because will the school give you funding to, or if the school is not giving you funding, without funding, can you take care of your stuff, right? So you have to, this is something you have to think about very well. Yeah, even if you don't get admission, you can still go ahead and then book the MRV, right? You can still do that if you want, but if you don't have admission right now, I will not recommend that, right? So, but okay, let me check TikTok quickly. Okay, Franca says, which is Francisca on Telegram, she says UK students can't relate. Yeah, UK students don't have to deal with that, right? Okay. So TikTok, let's see. Assessafo. Oh, what is undergrad? Undergrad. What do you mean? Philemon. Okay. Hi, Philemon. Pila. Okay. Just blessings says, please talk about I-20. I don't know what you mean by what aspect of the I-20. I actually have a full video on the I-20 explaining all the sections of the I-20, so you can check that video out on YouTube. Okay, I don't know if I posted that video on TikTok as well, but I have a full video on the I-20. Okay. Biggest says, please talk about how to apply as an undergraduate student. I've talked about everything on my channel. The thing is that if you just join today's live session and then you're asking certain things, it's like nah, everything I've talked about everything. I even have a course which talks about everything, right? Which will take you through everything as well. So Murray says, okay, Murray shared the live. Okay, Kwekwe Biniza, okay. Thumbs up to you. Perry says, okay. Jabba Kweku, hi. Kwame, I'm good. How about you? Ivy Brown says, I have a deficit of 5K for tuition fees without a scholarship. Is that good? So you have a deficit of 5K for tuition. So your tuition is 5K. What about your living expenses? The living expenses can be a lot. It's likely to be a lot more. And I guess you are going to a community college, right? The 5K, is it for 1 year or just one semester? Like all of these things. Can your parents sponsor you? Do they have the money? Right? So it depends on all of these things, right? So so your total cost of attendance is 23K. Yeah, 23K is a lot of money. 23K. If your parent can sponsor you, then why not, right? It's about, yeah, because everybody's family is different. So yeah. Where are we? Okay. So on YouTube, do you Augustus says, so do you need the I-20 before you can start filling your I-20? I guess you mean before you can start filling your DX1C form. Yeah, you need the I-20 before you can, because if you don't have the I-20, there are sections, but then you can still start the DX1C form without even having the I-20, and then just leave that section, right? You can fill it out later. Will it allow you to go to the next section? I don't remember. I always, go through the whole thing, so I don't remember. But yeah, you can still create the DX1C form and get the application ID even without the I-20. But then this is where you have to ask yourself, are you sure you are going to get admission, and will you get funding, or without funding will you still be able to process your visa, right? So you have to, this is where you have to decide for yourself, right? All right. Isaac says, good evening, boss. Please, sir, can you give me tips on home ties undergraduates? Undergraduates, how many videos do I have on undergraduate students? How many? I remember one right now, but I don't know if I have more than one. My observations, right, about undergraduate students is that most of the time undergraduate students, home ties is not an issue when it comes to undergraduate students. So undergraduate students don't have to worry about home ties, based on my observations, based on questions that are asked undergraduate students. I think most of the time for undergraduate students, it's about their funding and then why they need the program. I think those are the two things for undergraduate students. For graduate students, that's where home ties is important. And for graduate students, your home ties is just your job mainly. It's how the program fits into your job or something. That's what your home tie is about. And the graduate students, if you want if you are concerned about home ties, you can talk about, what the degree is going to do for you when you return, home, to your home country. Why you want the program and how the program is going to help you when maybe there's a particular problem you want to solve. There was an undergraduate student I coached. He didn't have any funding. He's from Sierra Leone. I've not posted anything about that on my channel, but then yeah, he didn't have any funding. He was going to do construction management. Now I think he was trying to talk about the fact that the buildings in his country, I think they are not up to standard or something, and he wants to learn the skills, come back and then construct affordable housing, and that kind of thing. So that was his home ties. I don't remember if that question even came up during the interview. I don't remember that, but yeah. So those are some of the things, right? All right. Mike Ben says, hello, sir. My F-1 visa was denied in January this year. I'm planning to apply for my B1, B2 in attending a wedding in the US. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for you, especially it's not been that long and you are trying to apply for B1, B2. I don't think that is good enough. I don't think it will be very difficult for you. I will not recommend it. Right? Yeah, just I don't think so. I will not recommend that. At the same time, nobody knows, right? But yeah, Peace Obo says, how do I join your WhatsApp group? Okay, so the WhatsApp group, when you check the link in the description of this video, you're going to see one link. When you check the description of this video, you're going to see a link which will take you to all my links. So the link to the Telegram, WhatsApp, everything, right? You're going to see there. Josephine says, is MRV and service fee the same? No, they are not the same. Service fee is paid to the US government that is in charge of more like international students, right? When you come to the US, so the service, what's their name again? The FMG, right? I forget some of these things. So the service fee is more like trying to track international students in the US and their activities and stuff like that. I think that's what the MRV fee is just money that go to the consulate, right? In the US consulate. So that one is for visa processing. So the two are different. Okay. Another comment says, please, then I want to join you and interview me when it's time for interview session. Please, I'm very serious. My interview is May 8th. Okay. Well, let's hope for the best. Safa says, initially I submitted my DX1C form for which my I-20 was spring, but then I deferred to fall. So currently I have a new I-20 for fall semester. Do I have to do a new DX160, and how can I update the portal with a new DX1C form, because I already have scheduled? So you have to call the embassy, and then in the past you could do it in the appointments page, but now you'll have to call the embassy if they are not able to help you, I think what some students have done is they'll go to the interview with both confirmation, with the new they will fill a new DX form, have the confirmation number for that, and then go with the two, so that the visa officer would only look at the new DX form and then match it to your your new I-20 and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something you can do. If you say so, what if for graduate programs you're unemployed? Well, it doesn't help if you're unemployed. That's all I can tell you. It doesn't help if you're unemployed, because it's like, if you don't have a current, if you don't even have a job in your home country, then why do you even need the program, right? The program is normally supposed to be tied to your job in a way. That helps a lot. That is what your ties is going to be about. So if you don't have a job, then yeah, that is not helpful, right? Leslie says, Shai, my cost of attendance is 74K, but I have a full tuition credits and full waivers on insurance amounting to 57. Do you still consider this a good fund? Then yeah, I think so. 57 out of 74. I think so. Yeah, so that leaves you with what, 17,000, right? Yeah, I think so. The 17,000, yeah, most of them will be your living expenses and stuff like that. Like I said, you are going to fight, but yeah, we are fighters, right? So yeah, I would take that offer up, right? Because yeah, it's not too bad like that, right? It's about fighting. 54 is a lot. It's 57 is a lot. Yeah, I would take it up. Okay. P says I have admission with 61K scholarship. Cost of attendance is 77 and my deficit is 16. Yeah, it's your piece. Yours is also a good one. I'll take it up. Okay. Pieces have been denied twice before, although with another school, which the cost of attendance was 57 and the scholarship of 36 and the deficit of 20,000. Yeah, the second offer is better than the first offer, right? It's way better than the first offer. So yeah, if you have sometimes it's not even, you might think it's because of your funding. A lot of times it's not even your funding. It could be other things. It's not always about funding. Like people think it's no funding. Funding takes care of 50%. So you have another 50% to take care of, right? So it's not just funding, right? Maintain community says, can I wait and create the DX1C for my visa account after getting my I-20, or there is time range to get an account with? You can create your DX1C form anytime you want. The only reason is just the appointment thing. We don't know what the future holds, right? But yeah, you can create it anytime, and we are still in February, so there is time, right? You can still try to start the visa processing maybe in March or April or something. Yeah, I'll probably start in April. Yeah, because April, May, June, July. Yeah, that 3 months. I think that's good enough for me to get a date. So if I were to start, let's say I have only admission. If I have funding, then why not? Then I'll go ahead and then start quickly. But if I don't have funding yet and I have only admission, then I will start my visa processing in April. I think so. I'll create a DX1C form and then schedule appointment. Try to schedule appointments, which is like pay for the MRV fee in April. That's what I would do, right? But everybody is different. Some people, they get worried about this thing. So if you want to do it quickly, why not? You can go ahead and then do it quickly. All right. Yeah, we probably have to. Toibu says, hello, Mr. Shaibu. Kindly, I had admission to the University of Bridgeport, and I once listened to one of your coaching sessions with a student from Ghana who had his visa. I will want you to help me, please. The University of Bridgeport, you surely don't have any funding, or you don't have any funding. I don't know why I keep telling you guys. No, this is University of Bridgeport. If you watched my live session yesterday, you would have heard me talk about certain schools that I have seen a lot of I-20s, but they are very popular schools, very common. Like everybody, I tend to come across those schools more than every other school, and it's strange. Northeastern, Illinois Tech, University of Bridgeport. I will not apply to this schools if I'm looking for full funding, because I have not seen anybody so far, right? I've seen a lot of I-20, so you don't have funding. The one I coached, right? That's Ebenezer. Ebenezer's story. He had a good story and he was able to express himself very well. You know, when you don't have funding and you come to me, it doesn't mean automatically if I coach you, you are going to be approved. No. I'll give you the best chance possible, but it doesn't guarantee anything. Nah, there is nobody in the world who can coach you and then guarantee. No, no. I think I do my best. I based on what I know, and I try to do my best and all of that. But at the end of the day, it depends on who is sponsoring you, what they do, and how you are able to express yourself. Like a lot of things which are out of my control. So yeah, I can do my best at the end of the day. But yeah, so Ebenezer was approved, but he could express himself very well, and we had a good story. I always say that when you are sponsored by your parents who have the money, it is just like a full scholarship. When I am coaching you, that's how I see it. If you come to me, you don't have any scholarship, right? And then it's your parents who are sponsoring you. I think if I coach you, you'll be approved. I think so. I have, because I don't remember anybody who was using parents and I coach without any scholarship and I coach and he wasn't approved. I don't remember anybody like that. I don't remember. But the uncle thing, it's always difficult because that one is not my fault. Like that, that it's not your parent, right? But if it's your parents, like the guy I told you, right, Sierra Leone, it was his parents, and this Ebenezer that you mentioned, it's also his parents, right? So parents, for me, parents is more like a full scholarship. But then the parent, it's also not just parent, but also what they do, right? So yeah, that's just the way. There is nothing that is guaranteed, right? So yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, let's look at TikTok quickly and then we can call it a day. So my last time here on TikTok. Okay, so TikTok, is it a good idea to secure Empower loan for my master's master's degree in the US? For me, everybody has their own opinion on Empower. In the study abroad space, I'm probably the only person who is against Empower. Not just Empower, but loans, right? Because yeah, I have seen a lot of things. And yeah, I've probably been here longer than all the study abroad creators. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, because yeah, 8+ years, that's such a long time. And I've seen a lot of things, and so when I'm advising people based on what I have seen and based on my own experiences with my credit cards and stuff like that. So, but at the end of the day, everybody's life is different. If you think that's the only option and then you want to go for it, why not, right? So when I interview people, I these days I like to ask them that question so that I can get their opinion as well. When I talk with Richard, right, I asked him for his opinion, and so that's something that you can watch when I post the video so that you can get his view on that as well. At the end of the day, everybody has their own opinion, so you can take everybody's opinion and then decide on your own, right? I don't want to preempt anything about what he said, but you can watch that video when it's out. Okay. All right. Isa says, hello, how long, I guess you mean schedule of appointment. I'm not too sure what you mean, but when it comes to the appointments, the way it is that you have to, they don't post date every day, they post date once in a while, so you have to be checking every morning, maybe like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. every morning. You have to be checking. The more you check, the more likely you are to get a date. So that's the only thing, right? Hot says, hey, are you interviewing people today? Your assistant told me I'll be assisted today. I have not been told anything about you being assisted today or something. I don't know. I'm not interviewing anybody today. I think I made that very clear, right? I made that clear that today I just wanted to have a separate video about the appointment, and so that if somebody's worried, the person knows, okay, these are the options, right? So that was the whole point. Nanama says, please, how do you have a page where you coach? I don't know what you mean by coaching, right? I have two courses. I have a course on study abroad. I have a course on visa interview. So whichever one you prefer. And I also do visa interview coaching, but I don't do study abroad coaching because I cannot add that one too. It's study abroad coaching. Once you go through the course and then you decide to, I spoke like a Ghanaian, yeah, and then you go through yourself, right? Then because the study abroad process, the people that I've spoken with so far, they will tell you that nobody can do something better for you than your own self, right? Daniel is somebody who will tell you that, Daniel's story, like he started with an agent, he wasted money and then he had to do it himself. And he discovered that, yeah, nobody can, the work he did to get his full funding, nobody can do that kind of work for him. Nobody could have done that kind of work for him. So I keep telling you guys, learn to do it yourself. If you cannot do it yourself, what makes you think when you come to the US you can survive academically? So learn how to go through the process yourself. Fred Stack says, hello, I have an MBA admission with 54K funding. with my deficit of around 43. Is it a good one? It's not good. Please, 43K is too huge. I will not. I don't like. I will not take up that offer. No, no, I don't. No, it's too much for me. Maybe it's my family, or maybe your family is rich, so why not? Everybody's story is different. The number says, "Do you have okay?" The number, you've repeated your question 3 times. When you send a question and then I've not read it, you just have to be patient. That's just the way it is. Okay, because there are so many other comments I have to read before I finally come to TikTok, right? Okay, Mr. Kenny, you're welcome. Akwesi, welcome to the welcome to my page, right? Focus. Okay, thanks for sharing it. So visa interview coaching, yeah, you can find the link right on my profile. Okay. So on TikTok, so the top 3 viewers on TikTok, so Mr. Kenny, Nanama, Daisy, and then Isaac. So these are the top 3 today. TikTok gives me this, so it's nice to read them out. So you guys, all of you guys on TikTok, thank you so much. So yeah, we are done on TikTok now. Yeah, because I recently started Facebook, so people are not familiar with the fact that I can actually stream on Facebook. This is a recent thing, so people are not familiar with that, but I guess we'll get there, right? So okay, so Instagram, okay, so Instagram, all of you, thanks so much. Facebook, I think there is somebody watching, I guess. So all of you, thanks so much. Let's go on YouTube and then let's try to end it on YouTube. YouTube is always the last place, right? Because yeah. Okay, so cookies and cream sandwiches says, does having a B1 B2 visa better than F1? No, it doesn't mean anything. Whether F1 or B1 B2, the chances are, for me, I don't. It's about, if it's B2 B1 B2, why are you coming to the US? What is your current job? Do you have assets? B1 B2 is where you need to have assets. That is your ties, assets. Maybe a company, land, or something. Those and then if you want to come on, if you want to come to the US on B1 B2, you have to make sure you have traveled to other countries before. That is going to help you. If you've not traveled anywhere before, you just wake up one day, you want to travel to the US, that is not going to help, right? So it depends. It depends on, sometimes even your age can come in, like so many things when it comes to B1 B2. F1 is also a different thing. Why do you need a program? What is your educational background? What is your current job? How does that relate to the program? So there are 2 different things, right? So there is, I don't, in terms of the denial rates, what is the denial rate? I think B1 B2 has a higher denial rate. I think so, because that one you have to prove your assets. You need to make sure you have assets and stuff like that. You are not going to, no company is giving you money in the US to come and enjoy a good time, right? So nobody's sponsoring you. You are sponsoring yourself most of the time, right? But then when it comes to F1, you have a school that is going to sponsor you, have a company, you have an employer, like so many people can sponsor you, right? So that's why it should make sense that F1 visa should have higher approval rates, right? But that's just it, but nothing more than that, right? Nothing more than that. Ozioma says, I have full tuition remission and my living expense is about 25K, and I intend to go with a loan as I don't have personal funds. Well, in your case, if your tuition is fully covered and you only have your living expenses and you want to use a loan, yeah, you can use a loan, so long as soon as you arrive in the US, you try to either reduce the loan amount or forget about the loan, right? You can just use a loan to get your visa approved, because yeah, 25K is still a lot of loan amounts, like 25K. Loan of less than 10,000, yeah, I will say okay, less than 10,000 is fine. And even your living expenses, I think when you come, you can reduce the loan to maybe 10,000 and then manage that. Okay, so, but when you come, hopefully you get people to help you, right? People to advise you, to show you the way and stuff like that, because yeah, you will need that when you arrive. Okay, but the loan should be your last resource. Like, as much as possible, don't take it, right? Okay, so Emmanuel says, Shai, do you have any known Ghanaian at Kansas State? Kansas State. I know people in Kansas, but I don't remember the name, the schools. Kansas State. Kansas State is actually one school that I will highly recommend, because I've come across, a few offers, and it's a school that I will recommend actually. So, okay, one thing is that you can also go on LinkedIn. When you go on LinkedIn, you can, you are likely to come across somebody go in that school in a way. If you want You can even just type the name of the school in LinkedIn search or something. I don't search for people like that. I come across people naturally, right? I come across people naturally. It happens because if you know somebody, you put something, then you are linked to somebody, then somebody will come across it, and I get people sending me requests and all of that. So then I can see their schools. So I do that naturally. But then I think if you search in that, or you can also go on, you can go on Google and then maybe type something like Kansas State University Ghanaians or something. Just use different keywords. You might come across something, and then you can try to get somebody's contact to reach out to the person, or you can also reach out to the international office, right? Richard works at the international office, and so as soon as he got a GA at the international office, he was linked to a Ghanaian who was there. So the international office can link you up. Your department can also link you up. Sometimes the department can actually send an email to Africans, like, if an African is coming, they can send an email to Africans so that somebody can help. So your department, the international office, LinkedIn, like so many options actually. So yeah, okay. All right. Kras says, Shai, please can you tell me anything you know about Western Michigan University? Western Michigan, I've come across a few people. I think I even know somebody on LinkedIn who is at Western Michigan, but I don't remember. I cannot say anything more than that, right? It's about you going into the school's website and then checking for your program of interest. That is something you have to do. Make sure that they have funding. If they don't have funding, you have to send an email to find out about funding opportunities. But whether I know people or not, that is really not important in a way. I mean, it's slightly important because it gives you a bit of assurance that there are people there. But yeah, it's a school that Africans go to, so yeah, you can look at that. Okay. Multitasker says, please, is Tennessee Technological University a best school to apply to? And in terms of funding too, you're asking me the best school, a school that no, I don't know. Okay, you have to go and search for it if it's a good school or not. There's nothing like a best school, right? It depends on your program. I keep saying this so many times. Like, it depends on your program of interest. Cookies and cream sandwich says, my question is, if you have B1, B2 already, do you stand a better chance of getting F1? Oh, okay, now your question is well worded. Yeah, if you have a B1, B2 already, you have a very good chance of getting your F1 visa approved, right? Especially if you have visited the US and then you went back to your home country. That is excellent. You have a very good chance because by having the B1, B2 and then visiting the US and returning to your home country, that proves your ties and that also proves your finances, right? And once you can prove your finances and your ties, what else is left? If you can prove to the visa officer that you know why you need the program and the program relates to your job, and you don't, I think it should be approved almost easily, right? I don't want to say easily, but you have a very good chance. Ransford, I did a mock session with Ransford, right? He had B1, B2 visa. He didn't have any funding. Yeah, I think he didn't have any funding. I did mock session with him just because he had B1, B2 visa already. And he visited the US and went back. He was approved easily, very easily. I think he was asked 2 questions or so. And when he was asked those questions, he was very clear about the fact that he has been to the US before. When you check my YouTube channel, there was the first person I did mock session with. Okay, well, on that day, there were 3 people I did mock session with. The first person I did that mock session, the first person I interviewed, right, in that video, he's from Sierra Leone. He had some funding, I think small funding, just small funding, but then he had been to the US before on an exchange program, right? And so even though he had a small funding, he was still approved, right? So that is always an advantage. Okay, all right. So the last 2 questions and then I'm done. Okay. So Wisdom says, Shai, with the new US visa application portal, must I submit my DX1C form before I can schedule? I think I've answered this question. So yeah, I've answered this question already. You don't have to. You don't have to submit it. You can create the account and then schedule the appointment. Or I said this. This is what I said. Or am I wrong? I have not scheduled an appointment. I tell you these things because I made a video about it, and if I remember correctly, yeah, it's that straightforward. So yeah. The last time I scheduled an appointment was when 2021, right? No, the last time I scheduled a visa interview appointment was in 2019. That's such a long time ago, right? That's like it's almost 6 years now. Wow. So yeah, So yeah, everything but yeah, you should be able to you can, all you have to do is start a DS1C form, copy the ID, use it to create to schedule an appointment, and then you can always update things, right? And once you update your DX1C form with the I-20 that you intend to use for your visa interview, then you can go ahead and submit, and then you can get a confirmation page, print it out, and then use it for your visa interview. Okay, I've even talked about, even if you have submitted it, what you can do. I've talked about these things already in this live session. Isaka says, greetings, Shai. Do you by any means know someone from Virginia Tech? I would appreciate it if you can connect the both of us. I need insight information. Kindly help me. Virginia Tech, I've interviewed somebody, who is in Virginia Tech, but this is not a good idea. I don't see why because the person is busy, and I don't like connecting people like this. Because if you have an offer, sorry, if you have your visa approved, then when you reach out to me, yes, then I can easily link you up with somebody, right? But if you don't have your visa yet, the person is so busy. Like when I see people are busy, you guys don't understand. But yeah, I'm interviewing somebody, so I'm telling you this so that you can use that channel to reach out. If he's available to be able to help, then fine. So when you check the ShaiPod, right, you see an interview with Daniel, right? Daniel is in Virginia Tech, so yeah, if he's available, his links are there. I think it's his TikTok, and then I don't know if the Instagram is also there, but then I don't know if the LinkedIn is also there or something. But yeah, so those are, you can check that video out on the ShaiPod, and then you can reach out to him if he's available to help, because Daniel himself, when I look at him, he's very busy. He's very busy. So yeah. So thanks so much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And next week Saturday, I am hoping that I can have somebody to talk about something, because I think, yeah, we have to talk about something in the study abroad session, because of the time, like I want to. Okay, so I haven't spoken with a person yet, but I can tell you guys, I want to reach out. I want to talk to Richard, because he works at the international office, and he gets a lot of emails from international students and all of that. The emails, they go to him before they actually go to the coordinators and stuff like that, if you send it to the international office, right? So maybe you can talk about some of the cold emails you guys can send, and what you need to do, some of these things. Like, even though the video is out, I asked him some of these things, but maybe when he comes, and then he can give you guys more insights on some of these things. So let's see if we are able to do that. It depends on his availability and all of that. So, but I just thought, if I'm not able to get him, yeah, we'll see we'll see how that goes. Okay, so yeah, thanks so much, and make sure you subscribe to the ShaiPod. Okay, there are a lot of exciting things coming up, a lot of different perspectives, because what I do here most of the time is just my opinion, but my opinion is limited. It might not be the whole truth, even though I don't intend to mislead anybody. I don't intend to take advantage of anybody. I am not obsessed with trying to tell you what you want to hear so that I get views or I get subscriptions. No, I get many subscribers or something. No, I want to tell you the truth. If those things happen naturally, then they happen. But yeah, so yeah, I want you guys to get different perspectives. That's why I separated that channel, right? So thanks so much. I really appreciate all of you, and have a wonderful week. Bye bye.
Hi, welcome to my first video. My name is Shaibu. The goal of this channel is first to help students get admission and funding into schools abroad. Secondly, to help students get their visas approved.